My name is Ryan Hanley and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Travello. Travello is a social network for travellers available on a mobile platform. So we consider ourselves the easiest way to meet travellers either in a current destination or a future destination. Travello has a really big point of difference to a number of other social networks out there. Most other social networks, such as Facebook, rely on networks that you already know. Travello solves the problem of when I'm in a new destination, how do I meet new people? And that problem hasn't really been solved. There's a few other apps such as Couchsurfing and Tinder, which travellers are using, but it really doesn't cater for travellers who want to meet other travellers for friendships. So that's the space that we fill, and it's a really big space to fill. Mark and I have known each other for over 20 years now. We actually met at university, and it was after we'd finished our own travel journeys that we came together and really looked at our own travel and went, there's a real gap in the market trying to meet other travellers. So it was just a casual phone call to Mark that I said, hey look, I've actually got this idea for an app, what do you think? Luckily, he thought it was a great idea, and from there we got together, started scribbling things on notepads, got on Google, how to build an app. We went through around a year of concept design development before launching Travello on the app stores in January of 2015. That was a really big moment for us, and I think what we did before the app actually launched was really beneficial for us. We established a really strong network across social media so that when we launched, and we were bootstrapping this company so we had no marketing budget, when we launched we had an immediate audience, which meant we got out to a really large audience of people and got that really good organic spike on week one of launch. Having an existing audience before the app was crucial, and I think it's something that a lot of startup founders forget to do. We were really conscious of it, and we started building an audience around our brand probably 6 months before we launched. When you're bootstrapping, you don't have money, so you've got to get creative with how you actually do your advertising, and by having a really large audience on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I think across those mediums we had maybe 20,000 followers, that allowed us to get to a wide range of people really easily, really cheaply, and get us that organic kick. Launching an app is always nervous, particularly when you're a social network, because our entire app revolves around density of connection. So if no one's on a social network, it doesn't work. So day one of launch was an extremely nerve-wracking experience for us. We were confident we were going to get traction, but we weren't sure. So we launched into the App Store, and luckily within the first day we had over 1,000 downloads, and we were already being used in over 40 countries within 24 hours. So that was the perfect start for us. Some of our initial designs were very different to what we have today, but funnily enough, other parts of the design are quite similar. What we did, once again because we were bootstrapping the project, was look at really popular apps and the user interfaces on them and really take the best parts out of those. So if you actually look at our interface, you will see elements of Instagram, you'll see elements of Twitter, you'll see elements of Facebook. So we really got creative in the way that we created and wireframed our app, and we really cherry-picked the best bits out of really successful apps to bring into ours. Wireframing was very important before we went into app development, and it was probably an area that we didn't do well enough. We didn't probably scope the app out as well as we should have. As a result, during development, there were a few problems with directions that we thought the app was heading, but the development team thought it was heading in another direction. So that was something that I think we could have definitely done better throughout that early stage process. Mark, the co-founder, and I are actually non-tech founders, so that provided its own set of difficulties for us. But I think it was also beneficial for the company because we didn't know a lot of the rules, so we didn't know what we were breaking through development, and that's been both a positive and a negative throughout the process. We had the app developed by a company, and a very reputable company in Melbourne, and Mark and I received an app that worked, and it worked well. What we realised when we brought our own tech team in and we actually looked under the hood is that what was produced wasn't actually scalable. So unfortunately for Mark and I, and fortunately in some ways because we've ended up with a better product, our app had to be totally rewritten the whole way through. So that was a bit of a learning curve for us, and I think if we were going back in time we'd have that knowledge now to make sure that what we were receiving from the company was actually scalable going forward. Having your own in-house tech compared to external developers is crucial. So much easier to communicate with people when they're at the desk beside you or the room beside you, other than trying to get on phone calls and work out times and things like that. Our initial development team was only in Melbourne, so they weren't on the other side of the world, but even that barrier was really difficult for the lines of communication. They were in meetings, we were in meetings, times didn't match up. So having people beside you to have, informal meetings with throughout the day, throughout the process is absolutely vital, and just speeds up the velocity that you can actually move as a startup. Travello allows travellers to do something they would otherwise be doing simpler, and that's what consumer apps do. If you actually look at consumer apps like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, we all lived without them before they existed, but now life is easier with them. So they're not actually solving a problem, but once you have them, you can't live without them, and that's what Travello does. Travellers are meeting worldwide in hostels everywhere today, but what Travello does is make that process easier, takes the awkwardness out of it. And meeting people online for our demographic, which is 18 to 34-year-olds, meeting people on digital platforms is actually more natural for them than the alternative. Actually having to walk up to someone cold in a bar or in a hostel and say, hey, my name's Ryan, I'm from here, do you want to do some travelling, is not an organic process. So we're providing a platform that just makes that process easier. Travello is going to evolve significantly since we've closed this round of funding. What we have now is the opportunity to move far faster than we've ever moved before. The next 12 months for us is essentially a land grab for us. So within 12 months, we will be the market leader in the social network for traveller space. To our knowledge, most of our competitors are still bootstrapping, and we're the first to leap out of that stage. So that's a great validation for what we've done so far. So the opportunity is ours. We are really looking to own the market over the next 12 months and continue to build from there. If you're travelling, you need to check out Travello. We're available for free on iOS and Android. We're being used in over 180 countries, and we are the app where travellers connect.